one in there at the end.
The Huya fans went out of turn. They're on the right side of the stage.
Yeah, they cut in line, but it's all right. We will be starting here on Ruins. Already seeing that symmetric coming through just to get that early TP out.
For the LGE.Huya squad, you know, we talked mostly about Gladiators Legion and the lead up to this. A lot of these guys are veterans of Korea as well. You know, you and I commentated Merit and Contenders when he was on Panthera, Jungmak as well throughout the Foxes, you know, now known as JMac. They're veterans, you know, they have experience on the Korean stage. And, you know, you have to favor their experience in recent times over the Legion coming into this series. Water, once again on the Doomfist, you know, that's one of the clutch heroes that he's popped up on stream on so many times. He's going to have to do it here on stage, though.
Already right up into their face. Going to be stunned up by that accretion for a moment. Wraithform going to be forced out from Dalton, but already see Merit going to be taken down on the side of Huya. So first blood has been drawn. Uppercut in. JMac will fall. Unable to peel for him, but Water will be taken down in the end by the back of that damage orb out from Molly, but the point will still be the Legions.
Yeah, much more passive play from Water, and they do get the secondary punch off as Merit gets caught with the accretion there after his punch fails to get a single pick. In terms of Coalescence, both teams have it, so that's going to really be the defining factor in this next fight. You want to use that second if you can.
Already. Emil going to be taken down by that Coalescence out from Molly. Wolf has his rolling as well, just trying to keep the rest of the tank line alive, and Water's going to be picked off. Nice rocket punch there from Merit, takes him down, and Stand One will fall as well. It's just going to be a fully one-sided fight for the side of LGE, and they will be able to get a very fast flip on this point as soon as they can clear this one out.
It's the attacking team who has usually the onus, who has to be the ones to use Coalescence first. If the focus fire is good enough, you can get an opening pick. They were able to take out Emil in this case with that opening Coalescence, and that's what starts the snowball rolling. It's a great play there. Even without having that supercharger, they got that opening pick with good target selection and good focus fire.
Them all getting halted together, looking for that stun there with a boulder. Unable to find it is Merit. Very low for Merit here. We'll just go ahead and jump his way out with that Meteor Strike. Stays safe point, still going to be retained by Huya as they get ready to take a lead, 30% to 37, established by the Legion. Coalescence rolling now for Molly in here. That Death Blossom coming out from both Dalton and Kami, but it's going to be the Legion coming out trumps here with the fight. Meteor Strike into the Rocket Punch. Water finds himself too. Dalton follows up onto Kami, takes him down, gets himself a double kill, and that will be the flip back into their favor.
And it's great to see with such a change of Water's playstyle in recent times, playing more passively, playing more, you know, reactionarily towards what Huya is doing in this case, kind of waiting for them to engage, going for that later seismic slam in, getting those punch kills right afterwards. Ooh, there's a nice accretion.
Yeah, very nicely done on the back of that halt. Prophetic Flex still going to be coming in from Emil, however, but Huya looking like they will be able to persevere. They're picking up a couple kills.
That's actually
the cost actually taking down Water.
Yeah, that opening pick changes your entire game because you don't have the speed boost anymore from the Lucio. You're sluggish, you're just going to get steamrolled. There's no escape from that. And, you know, from the layman's perspective, you might think, well, why was Luddy out there? Why was he in that position where he could get caught? But it's really just because he's trying to gain information. But he gets caught, and that's the flip coming through. They did buy a lot of time here, but that's all it takes. You get a one pick on the Lucio like that with a good halt, and it's going to cost you the point. Still able to build up a lot of percentage here.
Yeah, have a firmly defined lead of about 30%. Well, yeah, though, they have ultimates on their side. Legion have a couple that are getting ready to come online. The Coalescence going to be the next closest. But Meteor Strike in Supercharger nearly there with the Gravitic Flux and all. Could be a very nice fight for LGE. Meteor Strike coming down. Water looking for the kill. Could be Merit taking out Emil, however. Start things off, then he follows up for a second onto Dalton, getting rid of that enemy Reaper, so all that burst damage gonna be taken out. Now Rolf actually seemingly going off the side of the map, not quite sure what happened there, maybe a misfade. Either way, he's out of the fight, and Huya had the lead.
I think they want to reset here. Water's Meteor Strike was a little bit late. You know, he's been playing very passively in this first map here, but he wanted to wait for the accretion to come through, but then by the time it did, Merit was able to get first blood.
Either way, instantly into the back line goes Merit. He's on Emil, and Stand One just falls over with 4 members gone. That will have to be it here for the side of Legion. Not going to be able to flip this back into their favor. The OT will just bleed away. The first round will go the way of LGE.
Yep, didn't even have to use a Death Blossom there, just using it at the end to, make a statement about how dominant those last 2 fights were. There's a time to be aggressive and there's a time to be passive, and overall I feel that Water's, patient, reactionary style has been pretty good here in this first round overall, but it was really that's what cost them in that last fight, because he held his Meteor Strike, because you're vulnerable when you Meteor Strike. You hit the ground, you can't move for a moment. That's where you get caught by an accretion and killed oftentimes, or hit by a secondary Meteor Strike. But while he was waiting for that accretion to come out, that's when LGE.Huya came in. They were the aggressors. That's when they saw blood in the water. And that's the moment you need to be aggressive as the defender. And unfortunately, because Water waited so long, it gave him that extra opportunity. His Meteor Strike didn't get value. So it feels like the real tiny difference between these 2 teams right now is really just about judging the situation and knowing when to be aggressive is a little bit better on the side of LGE.Huya, but it's a pretty close map overall.
We'll have to see how the following rounds come out. You can see headset off there inside the booth for LGE, so making sure that everything is good with the settings over there. So it seems like we may just have a brief little pause as we get ready to jump in.
It's going to be, so we got the update that Kami is dropping some frames at the moment, so just going to make sure that is set.
Get that taken care of. Obviously not something that you want to be dealing with.
It's a pretty rare thing to happen, especially with the setup we have here, but
probably doing some tests, but either way, have the headset back on, so we should be able to get back into this one momentarily and see how the rest of this unfolds, because that's only 1 round of Achilios.
Yeah, you'd be surprised, too, at how many times in a stressful situation like this, a player will report frame drop, only to actually it be untrue, but you're nervous, you're stressed out, But looks like the problem is sorted.
We got it
in this case.
Of.
Yep.
So we'll go ahead, get ready to dive back into the action here and see who can close out this first map. As you can see, Lighthouse going to be the second one.
Oh, perhaps not.
Oh, maybe not.
Well, we can confirm Lighthouse will be the second round.
We talked about this yesterday, Wolf.
You and I are cursed.
The pause magnets.
Yep.
Apologies to the Korean commentators over on the other side, because they have to put up with us being up here in the booth right now.
Yep. We've got a pretty good and varied Korean commentator team from across Apex, the old Contenders commentators and the new Contenders commentators that we had. So it's actually a pretty extensive Korean commentating team, much bigger than you normally have for an event like this. It looks like we are going to need a little bit more time here.
Yeah, it might just be going in for a PC swap. We'll see if that is going to be the ultimate solution here. Either way, should be able to get that installed rather quickly. We've got several waiting backstage for moments just like this.
Yeah.
And I mean, we have Lighthouse coming up. So I'm curious to see if we're going to be seeing any difference in the compositions here. Maybe some Farah coming through.
Yeah, Farah would be the one to look out for if we do see something change going into Lighthouse. And it's kind of been a staple for Farah throughout Overwatch history, especially in terms of Korean Overwatch. Everyone remembers on Lighthouse Miro's famous jump where he was able to Primal Rage kill the Mercy and then return to the Lighthouse.
Was it Lighthouse or was it? I think it might have been Well.
Was it Well?
I think it was Well. Either way, it was
everyone
remembers
the
Achilios
moment,
round.
okay? Well, somebody look that up and tell me if I was wrong. Because everyone knows I like to talk about Apex history, but I might have misremembered this one.
You have
So
the
much in my
overarching memory. I have like the really weird niche ones where I can't draw up the memories that I want in that moment, but if somebody references something, then it pops into my head. But otherwise, I just have like the most unreliable memory of all time.
The way I remember it was the left side. If you're looking at the Lighthouse directly, it was the left side corner there. That's what's in my brain right now.
I could be very wrong. There's definitely a chance that, like I said, my memory is failing. So it certainly is a possibility. But I remember it being Well.
What part of Well do you have like the photo of memory in your mind here?
So there's the windmill, on top, and then there's that back platform that opens up off the depending on which side you're approaching from, either the right or the left, it goes off the side of the map. And I believe it was out that side, and then he leapt his way back up into that little opening, or onto the what is this? We're in a theater, Wolf. Mute your phone.
I don't know. Someone's calling me to tell me what map.
Yes.
Someone's calling me to tell me what map it was.
It's Mr. Apex. He's calling.
I'm gonna have to call him back. That is the first time my phone has ever gone off on a broadcast in like 10 years of broadcast. On this pause, it's just one of those moments.
First time for everything.
It's a first time.
It's
for
all right.
everything.
Whenever the pauses come in, that's when things start to unravel, and we kind of lose our minds a little bit. Forget to mute your phone, so it's quite all right.
Yeah,
I'll forgive you this time.
I'm definitely fired. It's over. It's been a good run, guys.
That's it. That's the end of it all.
I'll have to see you guys. Once my suspension is up. Well, talking about this this group stage in general. Today's matches have looked a lot more one-sided in general than yesterday's.
We've been blazing through this today.
Yeah.
It's absolutely just absurd at the moment, comparatively from yesterday to today, how quickly things have gone by. I mean, even with some of the 3-0s that we did see yesterday, I think there was maybe 1 or 2.
Yeah.
The 3-0s today were just that much more dominant.
Sure.
Full holds coming
a lot
in,
of full
from
holds.
Gen G. It's just we didn't have any full holds yesterday, really, that I can recall.
Yeah, we had a few teams today picking attack first when they were being full held, so that actually shortens the match length as well, right? So when you pick attack and they get full held, your opponent will just instantly cap if it's like a really bad matchup, like a mismatch in terms of skill. Because otherwise, that team is going to push all the way to, for example, the third point or cap B on assault.
Yeah.
And then you're going to have the full hold afterwards. But if you get the full hold first, it shortens the match length quite a bit.
Actually, yes, there was a full hold yesterday, actually. Just kind of popped back into my head. But hey, look at this. We're ready to jump back into the game. Still here on map 1. In case you just tuned in, Achilios Lighthouse, the second round. Huya able to pick up round number 1 on Ruins. Let's see if they can close this out with a 2-0, or if the Legions can take us to a third and final.
That's the question here. Will be Kami on the Pharah to start things off here. So, we were talking about what this might mean, but essentially controlling the point first as the non-Pharah team is quintessential. If the Pharah team gets the first cap, you're going to have a really hard time breaking through and getting into that entrenched area where you'll be safe from the rockets. You can see Gladiators Legion waiting for the speed boost here from Bloody to allow them to kind of get their way in and set up that entrenched position.
Trying to displace them there with that concussive blast, knocks a couple away, but the barriers come in, blocking those rockets, and that will be the first lock-in here for the side of the Gladiators Legion. So Kami, see how he can capitalize now. Several members going lower and lower. Has to get that reload off, though. That buys him a little bit more time on the side of the Legion to get people topped up. Barrier dance coming through for stand 1. He stays safe. That'll be the cleanup. Glad Legion will find the first cap.
The concussive blast from Kami actually kind of knocked them into a favorable position there. They were able to get into the entrenched position where the rockets were doing less damage, and then, of course, the fight went their way as they collapsed back in. He has to swap onto the Reaper now because, as I was mentioning before, if you don't get the first cap as the Pharah team, you're going to have such a hard time getting an angle on the team that's going to defend the control point itself on the Lighthouse.
And now you're just starting that much further behind as far as the ult charge is concerned. Not the fastest building ult ever is that Death Blossom. Punch coming out from Merritt, gets the uppercut in. Over onto ML, but cannot quite find that kill. Seismic Slam displacing a lot of members. Punch goes through, finds the Sigma yet again with the uppercut. Meteor Strike going to be drawn out. Merritt dropping down, looking to finish off the Sigma, but has not been able to do so. Dalton finds Huya's, but they answer back. Equalize that, but Water and Dalton have a lot more to say about this matter. Dalton picks up a triple kill on the back end of the fight. And that will be them maintaining control at this point, already at 65%.
And it goes back to what you were saying, Kami had to swap, right? He had less ult charge on the Reaper. Dalton's Death Blossom is the one that's really the game changer. And because of this as well, they got to hold on to their percentage. Bloody gets to keep his sound barrier. But you're just going to have to hope for something out of this Supercharger, but it's already deleted.
Yep, Supercharger does not get them much value at all. Dalton under a little bit of pressure, down to half HP. Massive Gravitic fluxes out, but the sound barrier comes in from Luddy to keep everybody topped up. Only going to be jumping away from the side. Heard that Water was coming, but he might still manage to find the target. That just sets it up for Dalton to find the kill. Water will be taken down as Merritt finally finds that rocket punch to get the finishing blow. But we're at 99% and no one is tagged in. They finally managed to make it in. Lensa buying a little bit more time here as J-Mac picks up a double kill. Looks like the flip might be able to happen here for LGE.Huya. They gain control here for the moment. Gladiators Legion, do they keep fighting? Looks like the answer is going to have to be no.
Yeah, they should retreat here. They were able to force the sound barrier out of Lenza, and it looked like the game plan for why they committed so long was to get that barrier so the upcoming Flux was going to be able to get value on the re-approach. But they actually used the Gravitic Flux, Emil did here, on the fight itself, so he doesn't have that anymore. So they're actually going to have to slowly build up ultimates, and Huya's got a lot of tools to stagger this out. I think Legion may have overcommitted there. Might actually end up costing them this map.
This is very much like what we saw on Ruins just in that first round. They finally got the flip. Still had that ult advantage coming through. Kami gonna be wrapping around the backside. Has the Death Blossom ready to roll, but it seems like he may not need to use it now. The 6 down stand 1. They do manage to find Merit, however, so down a DPS member, and now down both of them. As Kami is hounded down by Dalton. Water jumping up with the seismic slam up onto that high ground, keeping himself safe. Death Blossom comes in, they throw out that experimental barrier, but it's not enough. Sven just gonna be hosed down as Rolf comes up with a double kill, getting rid of both tanks.
Rolf, really good coalescence there. Perfectly timed as Huya's members were falling low, and that will bring us to a third and final round here on Achilios. And it's just really good teamwork and communication, and a great bounce back after what looked like, there are these panic moments, sometimes in these pro games where you feel like we've got Gravitic Flux, they just used Sound Barrier, we can win this fight. The common term everyone, shouts is winnable, right? You've heard it in your ranked games, you've seen pro players say it. It wasn't a winnable fight, though. It may have appeared to be. They lost a lot of ultimates, and still were able to turn it back with 2 critical ultimates, the Death Blossom there and the Coalescence. The Death Blossom helping to set up those low hit point heroes for Rolf to then clean up with the Coalescence. And pretty competitive start here between these two teams. We are going to see the Wrecking Ball roll out here from Sven, though, with the Pharah. So this is, again, a pretty unique composition.
He's going to be looking for knockoffs here, it would seem.
Very greedy style. I mean, you're really hoping for those knockoffs. If you don't get them, it's arguably an inferior composition. Especially with this control here already, where Kami doesn't have an angle.
They're grouped up inside, but they still will have to make their way onto the point to try to get that cap. It's going to be unlocking now. See if they're able to find it. Water jumping into the back line, though. Already gets rid of Molly. Fantastically done, but now he's under so much pressure. Everybody collapsing in on that Doomfist. Takes him out, and the rest of the team is suffering in the meantime. Stand 1, able to find J-Mac. Running him down in some nice Orisa v Orisa action, but as soon as he gets res back through, J-Mac finds some vengeance. That'll be the cleanup and the first cap for LGE.
Looks like Water decided to go for that slam on his own, and Legion was not willing to join him. If they had all moved out together, or at least he had a Lucio with him to help him get back in and turn that into a better, longer fight, that would have been great there. But he goes alone, and then they just easily peel him back. And now Huya has the control they were looking for with the Pharah previously. It's going to be really difficult for Legion to break this without any sort of range damage on the approach. And no ultimates to speak of. Coalescence is close, but not close enough.
Was off screen, but Kami actually got hit by an accretion there for a moment. Gets stunned up. Nearly has that barrage, and we see that Legion still playing inside. If they exit while that barrage is up, they will just get absolutely decimated. Punches coming through. J-Mac going to be taken down. Coalescence rolling from Molly, trying to keep everybody else on his team alive. A nice punch from Water. Gets rid of Sven. So the Wrecking Ball is out of the fight. Looking for another target. Gets the 180 turnaround. Takes down Merit. Then goes straight into the Meteor Strike to find Molly. Absolutely huge plays here from Water as the flip comes in for the Gladiators Legion.
Yeah, as long as they can keep themselves split here, and obviously inside of these entrenched positions where the far rockets can't connect, this barrage, might find value if they can find a choke. Easier said than done, though, especially with double barriers on the field. This is really rough for Huya. They've got good tools, but it's difficult to use them on this map.
Ball up into the air, looking for a target. The pile drive doesn't find anything, and already J-Mac going to be taken down again. Now Merit and Molly all going to be falling. The res comes in from Lenza. Brings that Orisa back into the fight. The barrage comes down from above. Kami manages to find Water, but instantly Ludi comes in and gets rid of that enemy Pharah. It's very much going to be the fight going the way of the Gladiators Legion, despite both DPS still being down.
This is going to be a swap over the Reaper now. We are at pretty much even territory in terms of the control percentages here. Ultimates, on the other hand, definitely favoring Gladiators Legion. So once again, Kami's gamble with the Pharah hasn't paid off exactly as well as he would have liked it. That barrage was supposed to turn the fight, then it would be worth it, but because it doesn't, This is a really rough position for LGE.Huya.
It's going to be the Flux versus the Supercharger here. But already Merritt taken down. Dalton like some pretty decent angles so far in this round. He'll get punished by Lenza in the end. He barely makes his way out with his life intact. Retreat back over to the point here for the side of the Gladiators. Huya going to have to regroup. It's at 76% for the Legion.
They have to get something out of the
one-fight territory.
Yeah, they have to get something out of the Supercharger. I just don't think they can, though. It's used a little bit too late.
It's around the corner. It's away from the fight. They're just not going to be able to find anything here. Kami is trying to escape. See Molly trying to track him down. Pops that Coalescence just to ensure his safety, but Merritt, gets hit with that long-lobbed boulder and then instantly cleaned up by Dalton. Water goes forward, manages to find one. Sven is trying to drag this one back into his favor, single-handedly taking down that tank line on the side of the Gladiators, but Water finds a double kill with the Meteor Strike. Sven and Molly both vanish, and the OT starts bleeding away. That will be Achilios going the way of the Gladiators Legion.
Now, with the exception of Water's first misstep, the seismic slam he sent out died alone. He performed well, and the Gladiators Legion had a better understanding of how to perform around the architecture of the map versus the Pharah. And all of the fights they took with better ult efficiency were basically won out of sheer positioning. And they just were able to eliminate the value. So twice in a row, Kami attempts the Pharah, and already Gladiators Legion has the answer, plays around it. And it feels like Pharah's a bit dated on Achilios now. It's been a staple for a long time, but most teams are finding less and less success these days.
It has been dwindling in popularity, but that's the first map going the way of Gladiators Legion, but it was a very close one. All 3 rounds there on Achilios with lots of back and forth, so let's see if they can tie us up when we come back for the next map.
We are Gladiators Legion. Our goal is to prove to everyone that we are a good NA team and on the world scale.
Welcome back. We are one map deep in this series right now with the Gladiators Legion able to walk away with a victory on Achilios. Very close map, however, and I think that is going to be very indicative.
Watch this moment, by the way.
Clean boop. Clean boops.
Yep.
Simon would be proud.
He also was able to get a kill onto Kami during the rocket barrage with a set of headshots, you know. Lucio's weapon's great for Pharah because it's burst and projectile, and it's really easy to hit a Pharah who is in rocket barrage, but if you're in a good position to set that up and help shut down the Pharah, it is very helpful. He was able to do that too. So 2 great moments from Lucio player here on Ilios. We're headed to King's Row.
Yeah.
As our hybrid map.
So will be the selection of LGE.Huya. See if that pays off for them. It's been a bit of a swingy map as of late. Let's see if this can be as tight-knit as we saw on Ilios, as I was going to say before we had the replay come up. You know, that first map is very indicative, I think, of how the rest of the series is going to play out. I don't think there's any world in which one of these teams just suddenly takes the rest of the series and runs away with it.
The fact that Kami is playing Pharah leads me to believe he's not that, you know, confident in his Reaper, and Reaper is the dominant force on Hollywood. If you want to go to a map where you could use Doomfist, you know, more effectively, and Doomfist is going to be the defining factor in your attacks more than the Reaper oftentimes, until you get to see really where you have those high grounds. King's Row is pretty flat, so I think it's a smart map choice for LGE.Huya here rather than Hollywood.
Well, let's see if they can perform with it as we go ahead and jump in. So here we are on King's Row. We'll just be having Glad Legion going on that attack first. We are getting set up on the defense. Clock's gonna run down. Let's see what these guys piece together. If they have any surprises for us, it's just gonna be the predominant meta so far. It seems like that will be the case.
So in terms of the attack, right, Gladiators Legion will be on the attack first. We can zoom in on this first before we see Huya. In terms of the attack on this map, you know, sometimes you can get A on your first push if you get that great rocket punch opening kill, and that's what really determines the time bank. It's very difficult to defend on this map. You don't have a lot of high ground to operate on until C if you're the defending team to utilize that Reaper play. So I think that's the reason why Huya chose this map, given that Kami was focusing more on the Pharah.
Don't do it, Arissa. Don't do it! Uh-oh. Gotta make that puppy disappear.
But let's see if Gladiator Legion can toss their way into that opening kill with the Doomfist and get that fantastic time bank, because that's when everything can really get opened up on this map, because it's so difficult to defend the streets phase.
For those concerned, though, it's okay. The puppy got adopted. But anyway, here we go. Gladiators Legion working their way up. Both going to be coming out. That's the punch going in. Connects on the J-Mac. Both tanks going to be down below half HP on the side of Huya. Dalton some decent damage in. Works his way into that back line, but has the Wraith out. Another punch in, just displacing that Arisa constantly, but not able to find that execution potential with the Doomfist. But you can see how much damage Water is doing. But as I say that, Tommy comes up, manages to find a kill, eliminating him and allowing Merit to get back in, having that much more room to work with. Nearly 1 tick gained for the Gladiators Legion on that first volley, but they do get shoved back.
It's really important that they get to keep the Coalescence here. Huya didn't have to use that on the defense, because without it, would have been a really easy way to snag one player for the Legion. They can have that to match in the next fight. Razor Thin defense, but they were able to hold on to that one. But once again, it's going to be Water who has to kind of open this up. Here's the halt. He just cancels.
Got to think better of that one. Sees the Coalescence coming down. Wolf's going to be matching. Now he wants to go aggressive. Gives that uppercut in, displacing the Sigma. Chunking him lower and lower. He is so low in that back line, but they cannot quite finish him off. Dalton manages to find J-Mac, but Water going to be taken down to the back of Marin's Meteor Strike. dropping straight in on top of him. Legion, however, they have the point for now, and Huya have to peel back through the archway.
Control here, they're gonna have to make something happen.
I think they just have to retreat now. 2 ticks gained as Merit gets taken down.
They're
Still going to be using the Gravitic Flux, though. They want to turn this one around. Sound Barrier comes in from Lenza, matched by Luddy. Trying to make this one happen. Kami gets up into the front, drops in the Death Blossom, but Dalton's with... He is there with one of his own. Manages to find 2. Sven takes him down. Very back and forth fight here, an absolute brawl, but Coalescence gets built up first by Rolf, pops that one instantly. Being Emil alive up here in those front lines and trying to get rid of that enemy supercharger. They managed to do so.
Oh, you've got to feel for the Legion here. They were so close.
They are still so very close. They have not backed off yet. It is right there, but see the Gravitic Flux come in, throws 3 up into the air, dropping them back down, but the kills aren't there yet. Emil manages to find one of the follow-up left clicks, but Dalton and Water have both been eliminated. There's no damage here for the Gladiators Legion. Obviously, they have the faster runbacks, so they might just have to do a full reset at this point.
This is so painful if you're a Legion fan, because you know how close they were. You know they had the faster respawns. That's why they committed their ults there, but they weren't able to get the value, and they were so close to getting some picks there. They committed so much.
Roll in the back now. Stan going to be committing in with the Wrecking Ball. Punch comes in from around the corner. J-Mac again going to be weakened and Molly taken down. Dalton finding the crucial pickup. Meteor Strike is out. Drops down, manages to find Water, and Emil going to be taken out again. Huya, can they engineer another turnaround victory in this fight? Merit wants to do so. He gets rid of Dalton, but they lose out on that tank line again as Sven falls. Punch, however, finds Luddy, and they will hold them back again.
This is a pretty pitiful attack, unfortunately, for the Legion, because they're still running the Wrecking Ball. They're still trying to operate around Water's flanks. They're going to have a minefield soon, so they might swap. They know that Huya obviously has Jigmuck on the ball as well. So you need to get back to the point ASAP.
Tommy nearly got taken down.
This is make or break now.
Fell down to a sliver of HP. Water playing around the back. Meteor Strike going to be drawn out. But he can't go. Oh, man! Sees the TP! Such a great turnaround, and Kami gets absolutely Goomba stomped. Now the jump forward as Sven will fall. The minefield, rather, sitting here on the point. Going to be gating off several members on the side of Huya. I don't think they're going to be able to make anything happen this time as J-Mac will fall. They get the cap in the end, but man, what a heroic defense. 2 turnarounds there for Huya.
This is a turnaround for Huya that really showcase what you can do when you know your opponent is running an inferior comp, but they're just rushing in because they're trying to eventually break the wall. It's like a Zergling rush in StarCraft, but you don't want to stay on that tech too long, right? They kept trying to break through. It cost them a lot of time. Eventually, they got their ultimates up, right? Because they had the faster respawns. But on King's Row, getting a good time bank is so crucial because you know you're going to have a good attack run through street space, but a weak time bank like this could cost them big later.
TP in the back here for Dalton as the Gravitic Flux comes out from Sven. Doesn't find any kills yet. Death Blossom out from Dalton. He gets stunned. Sound Barrier comes in from Lenza. Keeps Huya alive. They start pushing forward, stacking both support ultimates on top of each other, and the kills are there. They will be able to establish control of this card.
Yeah, Gladiators Legion not going to feel too bad about this at this first fight loss because they knew that Huya had the better set here. They came in to recontest. But if they falter on this next one while they have the Gravitic Flux advantage right now, things are going to look really grim for them. So this has to be a big flux. There's no counter sound barrier. They just need to get that extra damage done. On the side of Huya, they just need to play back and make sure they don't all get caught. If they split, they're going to be in good shape.
Drop down off that high ground.
Only
Flux
one.
comes in. Yeah, only catches the one. Merit will be taken down. Water finds a nice rocket punch, and Kami will fall to stand 1. Just with those left clicks. Water playing up into the front. Feeling empowered now. The kills will be there, and the card can start rolling here, but there's still a ways to go. They're about halfway through the streets phase.
Yeah, it's not a great time bank, but at least they were able to convert that flux that only hit Sven into cutting the team in half. They all had to retreat back, so they were able to come in and get that value without using any other ultimates. They still hold the ult advantage here as they approach B. So what was a weak time bank, make it a little bit better here if they can force this one fight on B.
In an extended fight, Huya will be building up ultimates here rather quickly. Supercharger going to be taken away from J-Mac. Wolf hosing that one down with his Coalescence. Molly trying to get the team alive with one of his own, but it's just not going to happen. The damage is too great. The Supercharger's still there from stand 1, empowering the members of Gladiators Legion. They clean up the fight rather swiftly.
That was
they
a
roll
phenomenal,
into B. 2 minutes on the clock.
Phenomenal Blossom there from Dalton. He did die while using it, but Water set it up by charging through, opening up that space, and he knew he had full range of damage there across the entire team. Great sacrifice there. Water now has high ground.
Has to retreat though. Can always get clipped by the Sigmas now, bouncing those spheres around off the top. Meteor Strike going to be coming out from Merit and Water, both matching. Neither killing each other, which is a bit of a rare sight when you see both Meteor Strikes used, but the Gravitic Flux out from Sven, managed to find Dalton, Water falling just before. So again, it's going to be Huya gaining control of the cart on this final stretch. A full team wipe in the end with 1 minute and 20 remaining. That cart is not in an easy access position for the Legion.
This is the toughest part of this map, and you really want to snowball C if you want to have a great chance of capping it, because you'll have those ults. They don't have them at the moment. And it's such a long walk back here around a corner and a high ground that Huya now controls. Look at the positioning there for Merit up top. So easy for him to drop down.
Gravitic Flux is out from Emil. Sound barrier out, catches all 6 members on the side of Huya, and they stay alive through the ultimate. The Coalescence is rolling as well. Death Blossom from Kami managed to find Luddy, but he will be taken down by Water. It's still going to be a 2-for-1 trade up in favor of LGE. See the peel back coming into the Gladiators Legion. They know that they have realistically one more chance to push this through. They have to peel back. They have to reset, but the staggers are still coming in as Dalton gets taken down. They're chasing forward. They're looking for a little bit more. And Rolf is going to fall. He can rejoin rather swiftly because of the fade, but there's still 20 seconds left. They might have to commit the sound barrier just to tag this card.
Yeah, I think they will have to. They definitely will. You know, otherwise it's going to be Rolf trying to fade in. That's not what you want. You're going to be vulnerable in that moment. Here comes the last chance.
Punches out. Nearly takes down Molly, but wasn't a full charge of the rocket punch. Meteor Strike drops down from Merit. Looking for a kill. Supercharger going to be gone. They force out OT here on the cart. Start working their way forward, trying to soften up that front line. Merit, however, is the first one to break through. Gets rid of Dalton. Well, he finds Sven, taking him out with that boop. Meteor Strike dropping down, looking for J-Mac. To about half HP, can't get the kill. Deep dive in from Water means he has to retreat, but now 3 gone on the side of Huya. The cart rounding the final corner. Kami going to be taken down. Suddenly, this is looking possible for the Legion. They still have that supercharger rolling.
They're going to have to buy time here. Lenza waiting for it to set up the flux. He needs to get in.
He's set around the corner, tags in, forces out the OT, retreats back. Playing on that backside of the point, pile driver in, catches a couple. J-Mac still going to be topped up, gets a massive adaptive shield. Liddy going to be taken down.
Flux.
It's an exchange. Water manages to find the punch, gets rid of Sven. Now Merit going to be gone. Getting rid of that damage dealer on the side of Huya. Water going to be hosed out by that Coalescence. The Gravitic Flux coming through, pushes J-Mac up into the air. He's got that shielding, but it's just not enough to keep him alive. He will fall. Death Blossom's down on the point, but there's a kinetic grasp there.
Here's the Flux,
though! Just goes ahead, knobs up all that damage. Flux comes in, slams him back down on top of the cart. The sound barrier now out from Lenza. Meteor Strike into the back, but Merit unable to find any kills. The stun is there to punch, out on the Luddy, takes down the Lucio. Gladiators Legion fighting tooth and nail, trying to get across this finish line, but Huya say, no, they will not adhere. They will not let them do this. They still keep it a contestant. It starts edging forward. Somebody's got to tag it. 0.54 meters left to go. The Bastion, it falls over. Reinhardt does not stand a chance. It's the supports of the Sigma against the world, but they are running out of members on the cart. They finally get pushed off, and Gladiators Legion make it over the line in OT.
An incredible fight for the Legion with the spawn advantage on the side of LGE.Huya, and they had the Wrecking Ball out. The Flux does go off. But at the end of the day, it's great mechanical play on the side of the Legion. Even Dalton's Tracer ends up making a big impact there in the end. But the fact of the matter still stands. This is a 0 time bank for a completed King's Row, which means they have to stop completion on a map that we're seeing completion or near completion from almost all teams in this tournament on right now. This map is almost bow tie shaped, you know, the left part of the bow tie, right, the thick part, that's A, but the meat is on A and C, right? The center, the street space, you almost always get through that for free.
Okay,
you
now I see.
Yeah, you know, it's like an hourglass on its side, right? I don't know. Work with me on this one. The map is front-loaded on A, and that determines a lot of your time bank that will head into C. And a lot of this for the Gladiators Legion comes back to the fact that they didn't regroup when they had an ult advantage on A. Thought with the respawn advantage they could keep rushing into the point, but Huya was able to, obviously, you know, pretty miraculously get a one full setup of 6-man defense there and shut them down, which really depleted that time bank. So now the onus here is on the Legion to really make sure that they could do the same. If the time bank is solid here for Huya, if they get that lucky starting rocket punch, if they get that opening kill and they get A on the first push, this is going to be such a difficult map for the Legion. It's all, you know, it's all contextual. Sure, they got the miracle C completion, but that 0 that you see right to the left of their 3 captured points, it hurts.
Cheeky barrier coming out there from Sven to deny any stuns off that accretion. Already pushing up aggressively around the backside of the statue, trying to scout out, make sure that Water or Dalton aren't waiting in a flanking position. They see them now. There goes in. It's a nice little opportunity to make his way up onto the high ground. See if he can drop in. He does. Finds stand one, already breaking down that Orisa. No way to bring him back into that fight. It's a very long run back. Very slow one as well for an Orisa. It seems like Huya might just do what you were talking about here. The worst case scenario for the Gladiators Legion. They're taking A on that first push.
Yeah, it's absolutely worst case scenario. And there aren't really any positives here. The Legion at least will have quick respawns. The last two members coming back, the Moira and the Doomfist, they might be able to mount one last defense on this choke. Dalton's up on the high ground right now, so he's gaining information. And might be able to drop down for a sneaky flank. But that's really all they've got going for them right now.
Yep. No split spawns, as you said.
He does.
Dalton, yep, gets that drop down. And to find Merit, that's going to be the go button for the rest of the team. Coalescence comes out from Molly, trying to keep them alive as they try to get the cart moved up into the choke. Both matches. Sound barrier, similar charge here for both Lenza and Luddy. Not going to have to be worried about those ults for a little bit longer. Dalton's into the back yet again. The jump board comes in for Water. Together they do help take down Merit and now J-Mac, and that is going to be choke control here for the side of the Legion.
That's really great for the Legion. Really turning this map around. They mounted that last-minute archway defense. They had Dalton take the risk. You've got to take risks like this when you know your opponent's got a great time bank. He gets that opening kill. They basically trade ultimates in their favor, and now they can kind of control this spawn, knowing that Rolf will also have the Coalescence faster. It's going to force you to take this roundabout path, and if they just match, as you can see, they're matching the rotation, it's just burning more time off the clock.
Yep, either way, they're fighting through a choke. No matter which approach they go for, they still have to get it through this archway. Where that Graphitic Flux is getting ready to come online for both of these Sigmas. Merit not going to find the punch that he wanted. Meteor Strike comes down, gets rid of the Supercharger, and he gets a 2-for-1 special on the uppercut. Oh man, J-Mac and Sven both taken out by Water simultaneously, and Dalton finds one on the back end with a Death Blossom.
So remember what I was saying about how this map is very front-loaded. You know, the streets phase leading to C goes quickly. The reason why it's not here
we haven't gotten there.
Yeah, it's because Gladiators Legion is taking this and just saying, you may have captured A, but we're going to make you fight for A again.
Yeah, pretty much. See that 2-for-1 replay on the uppercut.
Meanwhile,
rarity there. Sound barrier is going to be out from both of these teams. Kami trying to stay alive. Wraith form going to be burned. Spots out that enemy Reaper there for the moment. Still holds on to that Death Blossom, but will not be given an opportunity, at least in this fight, to use it. Water will be taken down to the back end, but that's going to be the only casualty here for the Legion, and he can rejoin faster than pretty much anybody else on this team other than the Lucio, so he'll be back into the action very swiftly.
Now, this is the moment that the floodgates should swing open, because Huya has the ult advantage. Gladiator Legion had to use basically everything on that last fight.
But if it does not, that's when things are going to be concerning. Stand one, however, will be the first one to fall, and Email, he's got a sliver of HP. They're trying to keep him topped up. Nice stun there on Akami, buys a little bit more time for the front line. But that's what Legion are doing for themselves, is buying time. They are draining away at the clock. They have taken us down to 3 minutes remaining for this streets phase.
So at the end of the day, you know, the time bank is not as drastically different as it first appeared to be leading out of A, because sure, they got the capture of the payload, but the fight was still for A there, because Gladiators Legion knew that was the advantage they had. They took that one risk with Dalton on the high ground, and then it all kind of fell apart for Huya. Still, this is the easy part, right? This is the middle of that bow tie I was talking about, where you get that free push around the corner.
Right in the middle of the knot, as it would be. Meteor Strike is out. Molly going to be taken down, though. It's at the cost of Email. You lose out on that. Sigma going to be further delaying that next Graphitic Flux. Death Blossom from Kami, unable to find any kills. And in fact, it's going to be a turnaround here from the Gladiators Legion on the back of those ultimates invested by LGE. They clean up house.
And now this is a corner that they can hold. They can play more forward because of the way the cart is positioned here. Normally you'd have to fight back onto B because of how the steamroll normally goes on this map, but they can actually try to fight around this high ground here, the stairwell, which you normally don't get on King's Row. So taking two great fights that allow them to use the very little architecture that exists on King's Row to gain small advantages. And Dalton's got the Death Blossom now. Unfortunately.
Coalescence plus that Supercharger coming out. Looking to go up in Super Saiyan on the side of Huya. Death Blossom straight in on top of the cart, and Merit's going to be the first one to fall. Kami stunned up, makes it into the Wraith. Retreats back with the rest of his squad, but cart control in front of B, not at B, in front of B. Very rare to see, but Gladiators Legion are pulling it off.
It's a really unusual, too. Sound barrier engaged there. They use a sound barrier to set up the Death Blossom in a place you don't normally get to see that on King's Row, so pretty creative here from the Legion as well. They're making this map theirs.
Now they don't have it for the Gravitic Flux, which is coming out from both of these Sigmas. Get dropped down, Sven gonna be quite all right. Legion a bit softened up rather. As Supercharger comes in with that Coalescence, pushing them back. Punch from Merit, doesn't find a kill, doesn't find much of a connection, and this corner is still held by Legion. Well, falling low, the punch in, stand one, knocked up against the wall, gonna be falling lower and lower. They try to top him up, Meteor Strike's ready to go. Looks for the TP, the Wraith form is there. Dalton keeps himself safe, and J-Mac falls in all of the confusion. Water will be traded out. Molly tries to equalize, but now Kami goes down. So 1-for-1, now 2-for-1 on the side of the DPS members. Huya still having Merit playing forward here with the squad, but it's going to be the retreat call coming in.
This is looking really rough for Huya. I mean, they don't have any great tools to open this up anymore. The choke that you normally don't even have to think about or fight on King's Row belongs to Legion. And the flank setups here for Dalton have been fantastic. He's close to another Blossom.
Hands on the punch, a very meaty Seismic Slam comes in, but the Coalescence built up here for Rolf. Uses that one instantly, they get the stun, and Kami gets taken down. But now Liddy gonna be out, and that's just moments before he gets that sound barrier online. Meteor Strike from Merit, comes down, stops Dalton into oblivion. The stun onto Water, and Stand One falling lower and lower will finally be eliminated. Water manages to find one onto Sven, but the Rocket Punch comes in from Merit, taking him out, so it seems like Huya will not be held here, but they're going to be severely limited in time bank to make it for that final stretch.
And the most important part right now for Huya after this cart rolls through is to get Merit and or Kami onto this high ground. You can see Merit checks up real quick to see if anyone's teleporting over there. Wanted to look for maybe a punch off the high ground. They're going to passively move around this corner, but if they can get up there, easier said than done. That's how they're really going to turn this around. Otherwise, full control to Legion. And it's easier said than done, you know, to teleport up there.
Superchargers on the corner, they push around the corner. Very nicely timed, Sound Barrier comes in, keeps Stand One alive, and Water manages to find a kill as Merit will be taken down now. J-Mac gone. That'll be the cleanup here, chasing forward, looking for any additional stagger kills they can find.
And what a phenomenal performance we're seeing from Luddy in this map, and the last map as well. You know, he's had great sound barrier timings. He's using his decision-making to use at the last possible second, using it for engage and set up Dalton's Death Blossoms. It's been phenomenal. See if Lenza can have a similar one here. He needs it.
The Flux comes out. Kami not going to be caught by that barrier, but has a Death Blossom rolling and manages to take down Water. Stand One's going to fall as well. Hulk comes through. As Rolf just tries to keep the rest of the team alive, but they're playing up near the cart. They're just trying to buy time at this point and then get reset to come back through and stop that cart from ending King's Row.
Huya have the advantage in turn of ultimates now. They have this high ground controlled. Look at Merit playing greedy.
Water got to be careful though.
They've just got to stay on the cart though. They can't actually split off like this and look for flanks. They actually just have to take the fight straight up with the Coalescence grab. Critic Flux, I should say, for clarity. That's their best combo here.
Looking for the pick on the back of the hull. It's unable to find it. Dalton makes his way into the back line. Meteor Strike drawn out, looking for a place to drop down. Emil so very low, the Seismic Slam will in fact finish him off. Huya trying to push this one over the finish line. It seems like they might just be able to do it. 3 kills at the moment in their favor. Now make that one 4. The respawn still getting ready to come in for the side of the Legion. They need to delay. Wrecking Ball swap comes in, but they cannot make it in time, so it's going to be a minute apiece as we go into extra rounds.
And such an unlikely circumstance when you think about the fact that when we rewind and go back to the late A take for Gladiator Legion leading into, you know, their overtime finish, then followed up by LGE.Huya taking A on their first attack, over 5 minutes in the time bank. But Gladiators Legion actually was able to utilize both A and that choke, that corner before B by being aggressive at the right moments, even the sound barrier commitment there for the Death Blossom. Finding these fights that you don't normally get on King's Row, changing the way the map is played here in this series, leading to Huya having a weak time bank and then in fact matching the time bank at 0. With 1 minute apiece, we might get our first draw of the tournament here. All things considered.
Very well could happen. As our good friend Avast would say, I can see the draw.
See the draw. Telescopes in the chat.
Huya will be first on the defense here. Happy Halloween. It's coming up.
Coming
Getting
up.
closer and closer.
Yeah.
I think now is we're getting into reasonable territory to start talking about Halloween.
Yes.
Not so much about the American
But anytime-
commercialism
yeah.
of showing Halloween things.
Anytime before this, though, no. Anytime before this exact moment, it's
It
official
should be
now.
mandated. October 10th, Halloween's
it.
acceptable.
Exactly. All right, 1 minute of the piece here. Mirrored comps. LGE.Huya going to be defending first.
Alton drags
Ult
them together.
early.
The punch was not ready to
Yeah.
go, or Water was thinking better of it. Either way, jump forward comes in. Stand one, however, going to fall. Wolf barely staying alive. Had to rely on that mini pack inside the statue cubby. Keep himself in the fight. Punches coming down, but the email falling. Now Dalton. Time to reset Legion. Only one more attempt at this.
Yeah, this is rough. I mean, the Halt was either too early or the punch is too late. You know, you can look at it either way. Dalton actually used his Wraith Walk
but
early,
Merritt's
too.
gone.
Merritt is gone.
Everybody is alive on the side of Legion. They have a major window now without that Doomfist. He will be respawning shortly and will be able to get back very quickly.
They've got a window,
There's
though.
still an opportunity, but Kami's
Stand
in
one.
the back, and Stand One's just not paying attention. Oh boy, gets taken down. The Ursa already going to be gone. Dueling Coalescence is out now, expiring. Healing Orb in. Dalton's up on the point. They force out the OT. Merritt looking for a target. Water drops in, goes immediately up with a Meteor Strike, drops back down, does not find the kill. Death Blossom is out on the point here, and Kami gets taken down. That's a 2-for-0 in favor of the Legion. As I say that, the Water going to fall, but now they make it a 3-for-1. Legion trading back. No damage dealers for LGE at the moment, and the healer's stunned up. They are retreating. They're going to have to try to fight this one back at the choke. Merritt going to be split spawn, but the cap is there for Legion.
With Kami's failed Death Blossom here, and Dalton getting to hold his, they have a nice advantage now. And unfortunately for LGE.Huya, Lenza does not have a sound barrier yet. There's a window where Dalton can actually get value. Very unlikely, but even still, this is better than A. This is a really nice snowball potential here for the Gladiators Legion.
You know how deadly this choke can be. Glad Legion able to take away multiple minutes at this point during the LGE attack. Ults are up on either side. Gravitic Flux coming out from both teams, but already Merritt going to disappear before the sound barriers could be used by Lenza. Death Blossom in on top of him, and Dalton takes down Kami. Now pushes forward, looking for a bit more. The tanks is trying in desperation to get something done, but it's not going to happen, and Glad Legions keep pushing.
That's the trade you want. You know, you have the Death Blossom. You know Kami just used his. You're very comfortable dropping your sound barrier. You know they're not going to have it, and they have to fight on the point, so you get amazing damage done with this Blossom. It's kind of like, you know, EMP grab in the Goats meta. You have two great ultimates. Sound barrier can only counter one of those. Same way that, you know, Zen's Trance can only counter one of the EMP or the grab back then. Very common strategy. Gladiators execute it perfectly here.
Pushing forward, Meteor Strike, Supercharger, all that's available to LGE. As the cart gets right up in front of point B. The Hulk coming down, the Meteor Strike looking for it, but the fade is there from Rolf. Meteor Strike in, gets rid of the Supercharger, but Water will be punished, but Mac falls. So now there's one less barrier, and there's just going to be a point B take for Glad Legion.
Kami's caught here too, already used his Wraith Walk. Dalton gets the rare headshot from below, long range to finish him off, and this is snowballing hard. Gladiators Legion may even be able to complete the map here with a 1-minute overtime push.
I mean, given how long that OT fight went during their first attack, I wouldn't be that shocked by it.
Yeah, I mean, LGE.Huya are going to have to really hold on to Volley's Coalescence. If he has to use it early, they're in trouble, and he does. He has to match.
Death rolls come out from both teams. The Supercharger there to empower Rolfs. As we get closer and closer to these next Gravitic Fluxes, Dalton going to be taken down, though. Merritt gets rid of him, but Water is doing some serious work. Lenza and Chain Mac going to be gone now. Merritt taken out by Stand One. Gravitic Flux manages to only find one, and Water will not taken down. They do not kill him off. In the middle of that, it's 0.33 meters left to go for the Legion to make a full push. They're so close. It's actually a fraction. It doesn't even show up. They are so damn near finishing this map. Emil is cleaning him up. Looting manages to find Molly. Gravitic Flux is here to pull them off the cart so they can roll in, and they do so. They start with 1 minute, and they take it all the way to the end of Kings Row for 6 points.
What a storied map of Kings Row, really, from start to finish here for Gladiators Legion. I mean, the failed A take into a late overtime push, into Huya taking A on their first attack. I mean, this map has slipped through their fingers faster than grains of sand here for LGE.Huya. This was their map to lose, and Gladiators Legion have absolutely taken it from out from under them. Really great plays again on staggering the ultimates together. Dalton's flanks, and you can see it starting to weigh here
I mean, mentally, how do you come into this round? Because essentially, you're talking to each other. You're not saying, hey, let's get as much done as we can with a minute. We're saying, hey, let's replicate a miracle that we just saw.
Yeah, I mean,
you know,
and when you know you get that when you start to get those staggered ultimate fights where you're snowballing the ult economy in your favor, it's tough to be the defender as well. It's not a normal push because as Huya, you feel the pressure of every meter is permanent. You know, in overtime rounds it is. If your opponent finishes the map, you're basically a dead man, or dead squad in this case. So you have to take fights you wouldn't normally take, and you can sometimes just fall behind an ult economy as a result. Go have to look for this damage orb.
Yeah, just get as much as you can, doesn't get too much though.
All right, Huya have to repeat this. They have to have the same push. It's going to rely on Merit here.
Waiting inside the statue. The barrier's coming down, has a great angle, and Merit's not ready for it already. Looking great for Glad Legion.
The sign of a great Reaper player, you know, a lot of people wonder what that is because it's not hard to aim as Reaper. You know, to escape, you often just press shift. The sign of a good Reaper player in the pro scene is often how you can trip your opponents up with positioning and how you can coordinate that with your team. And Dalton has had phenomenal Reaper performance on King's Row, whether he's taking risks, jumping behind the team, he's repositioning to another side of the map you wouldn't expect. He's just constantly keeping Huya guessing.
It's all about unpredictability. You cannot attack from the same place twice, otherwise they're just going to learn your patterns. They start working their way forward. 5 seconds left on the clock already. J-Mac going to be gone. They have to make their way onto the point. I'm not sure if anyone's done it yet, and they just aren't going to be able to get there. The full hold here in OT after making it all the way to the end. Gladiators Legion moving up another map. 2-0 now over LGE.Huya, looking to send the Chinese representatives home.
What a nail biter of a King's Row, too. We have had 2 back-to-back extremely close matches here in our second losers match here of the tournament. Going to take a well-deserved break after what was a grueling map there that they completely turned around. But what a map for Dalton. His family should be proud. And for Molly on the other side of things, being forced coalescences, he's having a rough time. It's tough to accept that this might be their last map of the tournament.
It very well could be if Glad Legions keep playing like we just saw them do on King's Row. What a performance in OT. Just need to clean up the initial rounds. OT seems to be good for them. But these guys, both teams going to be able to put their heads together and get prepared for what could be the final map of this series. Let's see if LGE can put one on the board and keep their hopes alive. We'll be back with that in just a few.